there's 2 saline bags. And he specifically instructs him, grab that one. The one Alberto Alvarez describes as having a bottle inside of it. He's never told to grab the other saline bag. He's told specifically to grab the one that Alberto Alvarez saw a bottle within. I asked Alberto Alvarez, what was going on in your head at this time? What were you thinking? He thought he was helping the doctor prepare to go to the hospital to save Michael Jackson's life. That's what he thought they were doing. We have the People's 30, the bottle. Alyssa Fleet testified to recovering it. She testified to the bottle being inside the saline bag. She testified that that's the very reason it was laid on top of the saline bag to document. She testified that it had been removed from the bag for purposes of photography, and that that's the bottle and the bag that she had recovered from inside the blue Costco bag. Only after these events take place, only after Alberto Alvarez is told to open up the bag so the vials could be dropped into it, and only after Alberto Alvarez is told to remove the saline bag, the cut open saline bag from the IV stand, only then does Conrad Murray tell Alberto Alvarez to call 911. Not at 11:56 when Sade Anding notes a problem. Not at 12:12 when Conrad Murray calls Michael Amir Williams and leaves a voicemail message. Not at 12:15 when Michael Amir Williams calls back and talks personally to Conrad Murray. But I believe the defense evidence from the Beverly Hills PD was at 12:20 and I believe 18 seconds. Some 20 plus minutes after, from the defense own theory as presented to you, Michael Jackson was found not breathing in bed. You heard from Fahim Muhammad. He comes up to the room after 911 had been called. And he comes in, he hears Paris and Prince outside of the room in the landing area where they'd been ushered out by Alberto Alvarez. He goes to the children, he finds Paris balled up on the floor, crying. Prince standing still, shocked, crying. And he quickly takes the children, he gets the nanny because he wants to escort the children downstairs so they don't have to witness what is transpiring. Paramedics respond, and we know from paramedic Senef that they're about 1.5 miles away. It took them just a little over 4 minutes to get to the location. 1.5 miles. Think of that when you're thinking about the time sequence of when the 911 call could have been made and when the 911 call was made. And what on earth would motivate a medical doctor to delay making that call other than to protect himself, other than sheer self-preservation, putting Conrad Murray first, putting Michael Jackson, his life, last. That is what transpired, and that is what Conrad Murray did. Paramedics arrive, and we know about the care they gave, the resuscitative efforts they took. We know about the basic life support that paramedic Blunt did as just a matter of routine because he knows what he's doing. He talks about the chin lifts, the head tilt, the tongue suppressor, the basic life support measures you've heard about throughout this trial. And paramedic Blunt was able to do that right away. Unfortunately, it was too late. He talks about the advanced life support, using the endotracheal tube to ventilate the patient. Equipment that could have been there within about 4 minutes of a 911 call had Conrad Murray chosen to make such a call when this first transpired. But again, we don't know how long Michael Jackson lay there in bed before Conrad Murray even found him. Maybe it was already well too late. The paramedics did everything they could. We know through their testimony that after Michael Jackson was transferred via gurney down to the rig, that paramedic Senef returned upstairs to the bedroom to get his equipment. and you think of this scenario, you think of what is transpiring, you think about what had just taken place with the children crying, them trying to rush Michael Jackson to the hospital. And what he finds is Conrad Murray's up in the room alone, appears to be picking things up, and he's holding a trash bag. And he seems surprised. Paramedic Senef gets his equipment, gathers up his belongings, and goes back downstairs, leaving Conrad Murray, again, still up in the room alone. Conrad Murray, sometime shortly thereafter, then comes down the stairs, enters the rig, and is driven to UCLA with the emergency personnel. Conrad Murray, again, you'll have this photograph in evidence, and it'll be much clearer when you have it back there with you. And what you'll see depicted in this picture is Conrad Murray standing here with these beige pants and a white t-shirt. And what you'll see when you look at the photograph closer is there are these large, loose cargo pants with cargo pockets on the sides. You can actually see in the photograph, this left leg here, there's a big cargo pocket on the left side of the pant leg. You'll have an opportunity to view that photograph and draw your own conclusions. But it documents what Conrad Murray was wearing, that he had these large pockets on both sides of his pants. You also have the photographs of Conrad Murray in the viewing area. If you recall some of those photographs, black and white photographs of Conrad Murray in the viewing area, where he's wearing the same clothing. So what happens at UCLA? Again, Dr. Cooper and Dr. Wynn are told, between the two of them, that Conrad Murray had been giving Valium and Flomax over a period of time, but when they asked specifically what had he been given this night, what have you given him, the only thing he said was lorazepam. Dr. White will tell you that he simply overlooked the propofol. He overlooked the propofol. Propofol is never mentioned, either Dr. Cooper or Dr. Wynn. They do everything they can, but it's far too late to save the life of Michael Jackson. We also learn from Michael Amir Williams and Fahim Mohammed that following the pronouncement of death of Michael Jackson, that Conrad Murray asked if he could be taken back to the home because he needed to recover some cream that Michael would not want the world to know about. They both found this odd, and they came up together with a story to say that the police had taken their car keys. That way they simply wouldn't have to involve themselves with it. They could politely say no, they have no choice. But think about the thought process of Conrad Murray at this time. What does he know? He knows his medical bags with the propofol and the other items are still in the house. He knows that People's 30, with his fingerprint on it, is still at the house. He knows his 3 various medical bags, syringes, and various items are still at the house. Do you really think he was worried at that time that Michael would be concerned about a Benequin cream, that he had vitiligo and he had to use a medically necessary cream? Do you really think that was Conrad Murray's concern at that time? Conrad Murray had concerns. Conrad Murray's concern, as it was throughout this time period, was Conrad Murray. That was his concern.
I always